and I want to thank everyone that came out today. Thank you. Today I'm representing the California Coalition of Domestic Workers, their drive for dignity, from San Diego to Sacramento. First, I want to thank our elected officials that sent out representatives, Senator Ben Wessel's office, Senator Marty Block's office, and Assemblymember Lorena Gonzalez's office. Thank you. I also want to thank some other organizations that are here to support us as well. The San Diego Labor Council, the Center on Policy Initiatives, the United Domestic Workers, ACLU, Mujeres Unidas y Activas, and the Employee Rights Center. The Coalition of Domestic Workers representing thousands of child care providers, attendants, and household cleaners from around the state. Today, along with employers, labor, interfaith, and community allies, we are fighting to win the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, Assembly Bill 241. The bill will provide breaks, lunches, and equal pay for equal work. We are asking Governor Brown to work with us on a bill that he will commit to sign this year. The coalition is hosting a Drive for Dignity, and each stop along the way we will feature different supporters. So, calling on Governor Brown to work with us on a bill he must commit to signing. Domestic workers are mothers, grandmothers, and sisters that do the work that makes all other work possible. And all domestic workers deserve basic labor protections. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Rabbi Lori from the Interfaith Committee for Workers' Justice. Rabbi Lori.
How fantastic is it to be here together again, because this is the year that we are going to succeed with creating justice for domestic workers in California. As people of faith of various denominations and congregations and communities, we are here today seeking our governor's support out of our commitment to justice and to the poor. As people of faith, we are connected and guided by the shared values of hospitality, mercy, compassion, and service. Our religious teachings, no matter what our religion, instruct us to respect human rights in the workplace and honor the dignity of all persons, even the sojourner in our lands. Each day in California, thousands of domestic workers perform vital services in private homes, caring for children and providing supportive services to seniors and disabled individuals. We know firsthand the stories of these domestic workers, what they endure, and we walk beside them and their children in their daily lives. They are members of our communities and our congregations. We are advocating for this bill because this work, while a growing and vitally important sector in the economy, is not accountable to basic labor standards, and because this work is performed behind the scenes in private homes. Domestic workers are vulnerable and easily subjected to mistreatment. We are deeply concerned that domestic workers continue to be an unprotected workforce in our great state. While there do exist employers who want to do the right thing, we know from experience that without any established standards or laws, sadly many workers will continue to be exploited, implementing basic compensation and safety standards to strengthen their care industry and raise the quality of care. As people of faith, we believe that people should be treated humanely in all workplaces. This is no less true for our homes, a sacred space where honor and dignity should be uplifted at all times. Many of us as clergy and people of faith have been called on to witness with passion in support of those who are made poor by the structures of our unjust systems. Passing AB 241 would help right a structural wrong that continues to make domestic workers poor and way too exploitable. So today, as we begin the sacred pilgrimage to San Francisco, today here in San Diego, we say to you, Governor Brown, we are seeking your moral leadership on this issue. Do the right thing. The time has come.
Okay. Our next speaker. From the office of Assemblymember Lorena Gonzalez, may I introduce Marco Briones.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here on behalf of Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez, who asked me to represent her today to extend her unwavering support for justice for domestic workers. Ms. Gonzalez has been adamant that workers that struggle to make ends meet must be provided with a voice on the job, the right to organize, and to lift themselves out of poverty. This is very important work that they perform every day for other people. As the need for domestic workers has grown leaps and bounds, the laws protecting them have lagged far behind. This is why Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez supports the California Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, because she believes, like all of you do, that the workers deserve their own voice on the job, and it's time they got that voice. It's time domestic workers be treated with the dignity that they have always afforded and demonstrated towards others. And she supports the efforts by supporting the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights. Thank you.
Okay, now from the American Civil Liberties Union, I'd like to introduce Ana Castro.
Thank you, everyone. I'm really proud to be standing with this group of people behind me today because growing up, my mother was a domestic worker, and currently today, she's still a domestic worker in Texas, and my aunt and my cousin are both domestic workers in California. This is not only a personal fight for me, but a very political one at that. The ACLU of San Diego and Imperial counties believes that all workers deserve fair compensation and to be protected against abuse and mistreatment. Fair employment practices for domestic workers are critical to equality because economic opportunity allows people to be independent and lead lives of dignity. Lunch breaks and overtime are not radical things to ask for, and yet those are the very things that that domestic workers are asking today. The ACLU strongly urges Governor Brown to stand in support of domestic workers. Thank you.
Okay, and today we also have a speaker from the Senator Ben Wessel's office. May I introduce Yolanda.
Good morning, everybody. I've been asked to make a statement in Spanish today. Estoy feliz de hoy poder compartir con todos ustedes que el senador Wessel ha decidido apoyar a los trabajadores domésticos, proponiéndose también como autor de esta propuesta de ley AB 241. Con la creación de los derechos de trabajadores domésticos reconocemos su trabajo y les damos lo que ellos merecen. El fin de esta propuesta es darles derecho a los trabajadores que ya de una vez todos los demás trabajadores de otras empresas y de otros séquitos tienen. AB 241 es un ejemplo de lo que todos tenemos como visión para los trabajadores. Un ámbito de respeto en el trabajo y una productividad más grande para los trabajadores. Su voz y su movimiento es algo crucial para esta ley. Yo los invito a que durante los siguientes meses y las siguientes semanas sigan hablando con sus legisladores. I'm happy to announce today that just last week Senator Wessel decided to support California domestic workers by co-authoring this bill. In creating a California Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, we are setting fair standards and recognizing the value of their work. This bill is about creating fair labor standards, fairness that already exists for other workers. AB 241 is an example of what we all have envisioned for workers, creating laws that allow for responsible employers and productive employees. Your activism and outreach are crucial in the next couple of weeks. Thank you for being here today.
Okay, so at this time I'd like to thank everyone for coming. There are special interviews available if you would like with some of the representatives. At this time, everyone, I'd like to go ahead and let's do the Cesar Chavez clap. Let's show us how it's done. ¡Sí se puede! 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 All right, thank you.
My name is Lorena. You said I'm with the ACLU of San Diego. I think that this bill is important for us because, I think that workers' rights is a huge civil rights issue that the ACLU cares about, and that this bill will really strengthen the lives of, hundreds of thousands of domestic workers in California.
It's true because domestic workers are people they really work behind the scenes, domestic workers of all kinds. They work mostly alone or just in pairs if they're doing caregiving to the sick sometimes, in people's homes. And so it's very easy for these to be jobs that are really exploited. And the truth is, especially if they're caring for the sick, the need of that person is huge. So that if you don't put structures around people to take care of themselves and self-care, then people really just burn themselves out doing this kind of work and are often either undercompensated, mistreated on the job, or not compensated at all. I met a woman just last week who works as a janitor and is paid a living wage because she works on a city property, which is great. But her other job is she's a home health caregiver, and she left one of the situations because she felt exploited, and she's still owed more than 60 hours of work. The work was unpaid, and to this day she has not been able to reclaim those wages because that's what can happen when you're working without any protections.
Also, I think what's really important here, my name is Ada Godinez, and today I'm representing the California Coalition of Domestic Workers, is that the wages that are being paid to these caregivers and to these domestic workers is actually coming from the state of California. So the state of California should be responsible for being able to protect their workers that they're paying under basic labor protections like breaks, lunches, and overtime pay. So I think it's really it kind of comes back onto the state of California. Does the state of California want to be a state that doesn't enforce breaks and lunches? If so, then that's kind of where we're at right now. People are being exploited. Workers are, instead of having to be a nanny, sometimes they're asking to be a gardener in order to keep their job. These men and women are depending on this work as a livelihood, and we need Governor Brown to stand up for these workers and to put it into law here in California that as Californians we believe in basic labor protections.
My name is Elizabeth Maldonado Robinson, and I'm with the Interfaith Committee for Worker Justice, and we're here because every worker should be treated with dignity and with respect, and I will never forget sitting down with a caregiver. When she shared her story with me, I was shocked. She cares for an elderly man, and he needs around-the-clock care, and at any time of the night he will call on her and she will come to his bedside and she will care for him with so much compassion because that's what her heart calls her to do. But then sometimes she will go an entire week without ever getting a full night's sleep, waking every 2 or 3 hours to care for him because she's called to do that. But when I think of going a week without really getting any rest, I think that is so unjust for her to care for someone with so much compassion, but she herself can't care for herself. And when she approached her supervisor and said, I can't do this anymore, there was no compassion on behalf of the supervisor, and she was just told that she needed to do that work. So it's so important for us to uplift these stories and to pass legislation so that workers feel supported and they can speak up for their rights on the job and they can feel the dignity that they demonstrate to the people that they care for.
So all in all today, we're here with lots of other community-based organizations to support particularly Assemblyman Ben Wessel. We lift up, how amazing is that our Assemblyman this year is the leader who's putting forth this. We pledge ourselves to help him in every way to lift up this critical bill to the governor's office. We commit ourselves to working with the Appropriations Committee so that the next steps is that we're able to get through appropriations and get to the governor's desk. And we all want to express our gratitude to our assemblyman who really understands the meaning of work and life and knows that people deserve to be treated with justice in the workplace. And this time, he's, like every time actually, he has authored this bill to make sure that happens for domestic workers. So thank you, Assemblyman.
Thank you.